A weapon, an instrument of battle. Many types have been created through history, each looking to kill things as easily and sometimes as gruesomely as possible. But a lot of weapons don't work the same way, so it might be a bit hard to pick one that best suits your shadow killing needs. So join me today as we take a look at every weapon available in the game and try to find the one that fits your style. Welcome to a newcomer's guide to Persona 3. When trying to find a weapon, what do you usually look for? Damage? Speed? Range? Every weapon in Persona 3 has something that sets it apart from the others, so you're bound to find one that goes with your tastes. There are 8 different weapon types in the game in total, 6 of which you can equip and use in battle, allowing for flexible and adaptable playstyles. They all come with stats for damage and accuracy. But weapons aren't only for hitting shadows inside of battle. They're also good for hitting shadows outside of battle. To get the first turn before a fight starts, you need to hit a shadow before it hits you. This can be tricky as each weapon has a different attack animation, speed, range, and hitbox. I will now go through each weapon in detail to show all their pros, cons, and overall capabilities. Let's get started. We begin with the One-Handed Sword, the first weapon you get in the game, and the signature weapon of pretty much every JRPG protagonist that exists. One-handed swords don't have much going for them, but they manage to get the job done. With average damage and accuracy, they're a good balance between reliability and strength. The range and speed of it allows you to pick off shadows at enough of a distance that if you miss your first swing, you can quickly throw in another one to save your bacon. The crit animation is pretty alright. A stab, a swing, and a jump attack. I give this crit animation a B in coolness. Next, we have the Two-Handed Sword. The Two-Handed Sword is heavier, slower, and stronger than its one-handed cousin. Its high damage output is balanced out by the lower accuracy and tendency to cause a stumble. But a persona with high agility can easily counter the low accuracy, making this weapon a great choice for those looking to slice shadows in half. When trying to hit shadows outside of battle, keep in mind that the attack animation is considerably slow. It takes about a second for the blade to hit the floor. If you want to have any hope of hitting something, you'll have to time your swings well. The good news is that it has a large hitbox, so aiming shouldn't be a problem. It's also got a pretty nice looking crit animation. It's nothing too special, but the upward slice gives it a few extra cool points. I give it a B+ in coolness. Coming up, we have the bow and arrow. When you think of a bow and arrow, you usually imagine a deadly and silent weapon, piercing enemies left and right with your dead-eye accuracy. Well, that won't be the case here. The bow and arrow is the weakest weapon in the game. With a low hit rate and damage output, and the fact that it can't do semi-crits, this weapon's only notable upsides are its inability to cause a stumble and the sick 360s you can hit with it. Although it does have the longest range out of any weapon in the game, making it very easy to ambush shadows with it. I'd only recommend this weapon if you're in a situation where a shadow getting the first hit on you meant certain death. Its crit animation is just the camera focusing on you before firing a shot and nothing more, so I will give it an F in coolness. Coming up, we have the fists. The oldest weapon known to man are his fists, a companion to his many conflicts and struggles in life, and oftentimes its answer too. Fists are the most accurate weapon type in Persona 3, which naturally means they're not very strong. On average, they deal slightly less damage than a one-handed sword. It has the fastest hit animation out of any other weapon, but the lowest range, meaning you gotta get up close and personal to a shadow if you want to get a drop on it. Swinging with this weapon is so fast that if a shadow starts running at you, you can simply spam the X button and you'll end up hitting them first. The crit animation is pretty great, ending with a satisfying wind-up punch. I give it an A+ in coolness. Next we have the bludgeon. Heavy, slow, and powerful. Bludgeons are the answer to the question, what if we were to put a giant piece of metal on a stick? These monsters are the strongest weapon type in the game. With the highest damage output on average, they will often destroy a shadow in 2 hits. If you're looking for nothing but raw strength, this is your weapon. Its accuracy is very poor though, so unless you like missing, I recommend that you give yourself a few speed buffs before you start attacking. When trying to ambush shadows, its quick animation and large hit window make it quite easy to do so, at about the same range as a two-handed sword. The recovery animation is very slow though, so hitting too early will leave you open to attacks. The crit animation is kinda awkward looking. It's extremely slow and ends with a belay spin, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C- in coolness. Lastly, we have the spear, a weapon renowned for making stabbing things incredibly safe and easy. There is no better way to tell others, "Please stay away from me, I have very severe and crippling social anxiety," than using a spear. It has slightly less accuracy than the fists, and out-damages them by a small amount. Ambushing shadows with a spear is very easy to mess up. The range is long and the animation is fast, sure, but you can't hit shadows at close range, and the hitbox is very small, meaning you have to aim your stabs well if you want to get the first turn. The crit animation is alright, nothing to write home about, just some stabs, a swing, and a throw. I give it a B in coolness. And with that, you've seen every weapon that the game allows you to wield. There are actually 2 more weapon types in the game that you aren't able to use, but I'll cover them for completion's sake. Knives. This weapon is exclusive to Koromaru. It's basically the same as a spear in terms of stats, high accuracy and low damage. Since its crit animation is a dog doing flips, I'll give it an A in coolness. And guns. Guns are exclusive to Aegis. They have a bit of variety in their designs. There's the standard gun hands, a rifle, and a grenade launcher. The crit animation for these is the same as the bow and arrow, just a camera focus on Aegis as he shoots. I give it an E in coolness though, simply because guns are inherently cooler than a bow and arrow. And that is every weapon type there is. You can change weapons at any time outside of battle, so feel free to pick a new one if the one you're using isn't working out for you. You can find weapons in chests, buy them at the police station, or get them off red cards in shuffle time. Or you can make your own weapons, or rather, turn your personas into weapons. After July 26, a store is opened up in Polonia Mall. Step inside and you'll find out that it's not just an ordinary antique store. The owner actually works for Kirijo Corp, and she has undertaken the task of helping C's by offering a special service called Weapon Fusion. Weapon Fusion is the ability to imbue a persona's strength into a weapon, creating powerful arms for your team to use. To fuse a persona into a weapon, you need 2 things: a persona and a Nile weapon. Nile weapons are obtained by defeating Golden Shadows. These can belong to any of the 8 weapon types that exist in the game. The stats and special effect of a fusion weapon depend entirely on the level, stats, and arcana of the persona being used in fusion. A fusion weapon's accuracy and damage can fall into one of 3 categories that change depending on the most prominent stat of a persona. All weapons share these categories, except guns, which only share one. Why? Because guns are assholes who want me to work more to accommodate them. The categories are as follows. Category 8. If the persona's highest stat is strength or endurance, it will fall into this category. Weapons of this category have a set accuracy value of 92. Its damage depends on the persona level, with the lowest value being 58 and the highest being 370. Next is Category B. If the persona's main stats are either magic or agility, it will produce a Category B weapon. These have a low accuracy value of 89, and their damage values go from 78 to 382. As you can see, this weapon category trades accuracy for damage. Finally, we have Category C. If the persona favors luck, the resulting weapon will be a Category C. These have the highest hit rate out of any non-special fusion weapons, with an accuracy value of 95. The damage value can go as low as 52 and as high as 350. Remember how I mentioned that guns don't share all the same categories as other weapons? Well, allow me to explain. Let's say you're trying to fuse a weapon with a persona with high strength. This would make it a Category A weapon. But if said weapon is a gun, it will instead have the stats of a Category B weapon, and vice versa. Besides stats, all fusion weapons contain a special effect depending on the arcana of the persona you're using. The strength of said effect can also depend on the level of the persona. The effects can be either very useful or very garbage. Here is every effect that each arcana gives to your weapons. Magician, Priestess, Emperor, and Justice all give you an increased dodge chance against ice, fire, lightning, and wind. The dodge chance increases the higher the level of the persona. Empress, Tower, Star, and Sun give a small amount of resistance against different elements. Hierophant, Strength, and Temperance make you start every fight with increased speed, attack, or defense. Lovers, Hermit, Death, and Devil give you a resistance to Charm, Poison, Rage, and Fear. Chariot personas give you a chance to counter, with said chance increasing with the level of the persona. Fortune and Hangman give extra SP and HP respectively, with the amount increasing depending on the level of the persona. Moon personas give you increased critical chance, which also depends on persona level. Judgement personas give your weapons a chance to inflict a random ailment on your target, the success rate increasing with persona level. And finally, Aeon personas give extra points to all your stats, with a maximum of 5 extra points at the highest level tier. As you may have noticed, I haven't talked about full personas. Well, the reason is that full personas don't actually work the same as other arcanas. Not only does each full persona have its own unique effect, but any weapons fused with this arcana will automatically have 1 damage and 99 accuracy. This makes full weapons useless for dealing damage. The only reason why you would want one of these is for the special effects. The effect of each full persona are as follows. Orpheus will give the weapon a small chance to inflict a random ailment when attacking. Slime will give you 20 max SP. Legion will give you 100 max HP. Black Frost will give you 10 extra points to your magic. Osa will give you 10 extra strength. Decoravia will give you 10 points in endurance. Loki will give your attacks a moderate chance to inflict a random ailment. Susanoo will give you 3 points to all stats. And the Secret Ultimate Full Persona gives you a weapon that greatly resists all magic attacks. Full Personas aren't the only special cases when it comes to weapon fusion. There's a few other personas that will give you weapons that don't follow any of the rules or categories mentioned before. These have unique names and are often a reference to a weapon used by the persona itself. You can identify them by the fact that they'll always give the same result, regardless of the weapon type you're trying to fuse them with. Among these are ultimate weapons. Ultimate weapons have the highest accuracy and damage values in the game. There is an ultimate weapon for each weapon type, and they all give 10 extra points to all stats. Finally, I want to touch up on one last type of fusion weapon. These are very unique, as they break away from normal weapon rules by dealing magic damage rather than physical. They're called elemental weapons. When wielding one, any attacks of the corresponding element will deal 25% more damage. The downside of these weapons is that they cannot score critical hits, and their accuracy values are abysmal. Weapon fusion isn't an instant process. It will take 1 day for regular fusion weapons and 2 days for special ones to be finished. And that is pretty much all there is to know about weapons. Like other aspects of the game, it's not imperative that you hunt down the strongest weapons you can get. But the plethora of different special effects that weapons have often makes finding or fusing them very rewarding. That is all I have for today. Oh, by the way, I made a Twitter account for those interested in updates on the series. I also have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page for those who want to support the channel and future projects. But the simple fact that you're here watching the series helps much more than you think. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time.